It's an honor, truly. And it's truly an honor to be able to share this story because that little bottle has changed my life. It basically started in 2007. Again, I was on the phone with a friend, and I was slurring my words. She asked me if I'd been drinking, really asked me if I was drunk. And I kind of giggled because I wasn't, and I told her so. The next day I woke up, and I completely had lost my speech. I had a few syllables I could kind of utter. We made an appointment, my husband and I made an appointment to go to the doctor's office. We got to the doctor's office. He scratched his head and said that he wished he knew what was wrong with me. He gave me 2 aspirins, sent me home, and told me to make an appointment to go get an MRI done. The MRI, this is February. The MRI was scheduled for April. I went and got the MRI done in April. The doctor was a neurologist that read it. He said that if I had gotten the MRI done in February, he probably could have told me what was wrong with me. But because I was only 47 years old, he figured it was probably MS, but it could have been a stroke. But he said because of my age that he was thinking was probably MS. I live in Washington State, and Washington State happens to be the capital for MS because of our weather climate is what they're assuming. So for the next 2 years, they tried to find the MS, which they couldn't find. And they ruled it out after 2 spinal taps. Then for the next 4 years, they chased me around trying to figure out what was wrong with me. I was basically brutalized by all kinds of doctors, basically blaming me because they couldn't figure out what was wrong with it, to the point of psychiatric medicines were coming into play. Eventually, my husband cornered a doctor after we went through about 9 neurologists. And he asked them in 2 kind words, if this was your wife, what would you do? The neurologist, shaking in his boots, literally shaking because my husband had cornered him, sent us to the University of Washington. And in about 7 months, we found out that I had a brain disease. And basically, it was an old people's disease. I had, my arteries were shrinking. And so in about 2 years, I'm treated by this doctor, Dr. Weinstein, up in Harborview Medical Center, who's an amazing doctor. I'll give him that. I was having probably 3, 4 to 7 small strokes a year. And in April of this past month, I was visiting my father, who's an older man. He's going to be 90 this next birthday. And I tried to spend several, 3 or 4 days here and there with him because I love him. I was with him, and we were driving down the road, and I said to my dad, hey, can you take me to the fire department? I can't drive anymore because of my strokes. He goes, why? And I said, I think I'm having a small stroke. He panicked. Being used to it, I kind of have a routine down. He took me to the fire department. My blood pressure was 195 over 190. And normal routine, get in the ambulance. They take me to the hospital, have an MRI, I have a CAT scan. Stay there for about 4 days, go home. And then a few weeks later, I wind up at Dr. Weinstein's office. This time, Dr. Weinstein informed me that the regimen of pills, which is what keeps me alive, was not working, and that I was going to have change. And the first thing that came up, he says, well, we can put stents in your brain because we have great success with that. Only afterwards, people generally die or have a huge stroke that is debilitating. Well, that was out. The next thing was that they could put me on a different blood thinner, and it was a D class, which is, it's a full-strength medication that generally most insurances will not cover. Well, my husband has great medical insurance, and ours did cover it. So I'm on that medication, but I looked at my husband and I said, well, what happens when that quits working? And so we started kind of searching for things outside the box. And a friend of ours, who's kind of an unreliable friend, suggested that we go on this hemp product. And we kind of went, yeah, sure. We kind of blew her off. continually blowing her off. And finally, we said, what could it hurt? So we tried it. In the meantime, not being worried about my arm, and I'm left-handed, so that I barely had any use of, probably about 5%. And it was worse than giving childbirth. I mean, the pain, it was excruciating, but I was worried about the brain. So within 3 to 5 days, I went from 5% use of my arm to 90% use of my arm. This was remarkable. I was like blown away. And I was like, this is something special. This is pretty amazing. But what was more incredible is that after being on this product, I was starting to be able to do things that I hadn't been able to do, like clean my house. I mean, I know that's something that people go, but I was not able to do small things like clean my own home. I was able to cook meals, clean my house, walk down the street. I started feeling good. I was carrying what I felt like was a brick on my head. The brick was gone. But even more so, I got to the point where I was sitting in my living room feeling like I was going to die. I no longer felt like I was going to die. I finally felt like I had hope. Like, I don't know if it was going to change my situation, make me live longer, but I finally felt like my quality of life had changed. And just the other day, two of my ups, Lori McDonald, came to me and she said, since I've met you, you've grown, you've changed so much. You're a totally different person. And then Kim Ortez, another one of my ups, came to me and she says, Michelle, you are completely different from the first time I met you. And they came to me at 2 different times. You don't even know how valuable that is to me. I can't even talk about this. I am such a different person. And my husband has stood by me through this too. I have to say about him. I mean, Mark Moreno, these are people in my life. So many fabulous people are there for me and have been there for me. And I have to thank them all. And I'm here, and I'm going to be here. And I'm going to continue growing, and I'm going to continue taking that. And I'm going to be here until I'm 120. So that's that. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.